I made a new character in Albion Online, and in just 6 hours of playing, I made over 13 million silver, got my masteries to level 70, and my specializations to level 47. For a new player, that means you can already equip tier 7 gear, you'll have nearly every ability unlocked, and that's more silver on day 1 than most players see in their first couple of months. Now, I've been playing since the beta, so my results won't be identical to yours, but the method shown is something any player can follow, and this video is proof of what's possible. Whether you're brand new, returning after a break, or just not making the silver you feel you should be, what I'm about to show you is one of the fastest ways to change that. So my initial plan was to start from 0 and play for 4 hours to see what's possible. That's why the character is named Delete after 4 hours. But the results were so good that I kept going for a couple hours longer. And what you're about to see is exactly how it happened from start to finish. Before we get into it though, I'm really happy to share that I just got my official Albion Online creator code. And if you ever buy anything from the shop, using code LEIFI at checkout means 5% of whatever you spend goes directly to supporting the channel. It costs you nothing extra, and it genuinely means a lot. Now let's get into it. After creating my character, I skipped the tutorial, which saves about 15 minutes right off the start. I chose Bridgewatch as my starter city, and when asked to choose a pet, I skipped that too. Then I quickly fixed my chat tabs because the banter in global chat would certainly get me in trouble on YouTube. It's so bad I had to blur it out. With that sorted, first thing is to gather a bunch of rough stone to get some starting silver. Dancing for silver would have been less of a hassle, but offering that service will most certainly get you chat banned for 900 years in this game. Sell the rough stone, buy a mule, and start heading to Bridgewatch. On the way there, keep picking up rough stone. We're going to need these to buy our first set of gear. After selling my stack on the marketplace, I have 12k silver, enough to buy a tier 2 set of gear and consumables. You can see on screen the exact items I bought, and don't worry if you can't afford the health potions. They're the least important at this stage. These transactions complete a bunch of journal missions, which I claim. Any silver bags you get here you can use straight away, but keep the tomes. With the tier 2 set equipped, we're going to use just one Journeyman's Tome of Insight, which is the tier 3 one that gives 5k fame. These complete the Journeyman weapon and armor lines and unlock tier 3 gear. Back to the market we go to sell the sword and shield and buy tier 3 brawler gloves. Now we head out to the blue zone and find a solo dungeon. Once you enter it, use your catfish. That's your food consumable, so your health quickly regenerates after every pull. Simply clear the dungeon, kill the final boss, loot everything up, and exit by teleporting out. This completes a few journal missions, among which 2 of them grant you Adept's Royal Sigils. Claim all of your mission rewards, and then journey back to town. Head to the marketplace and sell the 2 royal sigils we just got. This should make for nearly 40,000 silver. This step also completes the mission that rewards us with our first 3 days of premium. I use it straight away, which I recommend you do too if you plan to play actively. And when your 3 days run out, if you're enjoying Albion and decide to grab premium, that's the perfect time to use creator code LEIFI in the shop. With enough silver in our bag and premium active, our next goal is to wear tier 4 gear. If I check the Destiny board, I see that I need 18,000 fame to unlock it. So with the current set equipped, simply use one Expert's Tome of Insight, which gives 20,000 fame. Now we can equip tier 4. So start by selling everything, as we won't need any of these lower tier items any longer. Say bye to your mule as well, as we're about to start riding horses. If you had any health potions, those are the only items you want to keep. Now let's quickly go over the build we're going to use. This is the Battle Bracers build from my starter builds video, where I cover one starter build for every single weapon tree in the game. I went with the Battle Bracers specifically because it has a ton of mobility, great AoE damage, and a wide variety of utility skills. Now, while buying my set here, I did mess up and bought the Mercenary Jacket instead of the Assassin Jacket, which is just old habits kicking in. But you can see on screen exactly what you should buy if you wish to follow along. This build is a top tier pick, just like any of the other 16 builds shown in that video. And if you want something viable for both solo and group PvE and PvP, you can't go wrong with this one. The video is linked in the description below if you want to start with a different weapon tree instead. After buying and equipping the gear on screen, use all of your tomes. From here on, use all untradeable tomes on this set to level the masteries and specializations, which makes for bonus item power that directly affects how much damage you deal and how tanky you get. It's time to head out to the yellow zone, because although we are properly geared now, we're also proper broke. My goal now is to get some silver, so that if I die, I don't have to go back to collecting rough stone. Out in the yellow zone, I see a mob camp with a solo boss class scroll. And this is great because it's exactly the type of stuff that I need. Except for the fact that this yellow zone warrior, who obviously isn't a beginner, also wants it. I barely survive, but I fail in getting the scroll, so I just keep moving. I kill some roaming mobs on the way, which complete my daily and grant me a tome that I use. As I'm walking around looking for objectives to clear, I spot a small treasure chest, which of course is a legendary. I grab the tomes, but I fail in grabbing the only item worth something. At this point, honest to you guys, I felt frustrated. First the scroll, now the chest. Like, what are these yellow zone warriors? How are these players with hundreds and even thousands of hours into the game stuck in these areas and still chasing scraps while making it a lot more and unnecessarily difficult for newer players? Whatever the mentality of these players, I hope anyone watching my channel learns better. So make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. I upload guides specifically so you don't end up as a yellow zone warrior yourself. And by watching my guides, you'll actually progress in effective and efficient ways. As I keep moving around and kill roaming mobs, I spot a solo camp which I clear for some fame and ultimately the chest, which turns out to be a blue one that gives me 30,000 in loot. After killing the circle boss right here, I open my journal and claim all mission rewards and use all of the silver bags and learning points. I won't be using any learning points throughout this video, and neither should you, as you should save those up for more important stuff such as life skills and not waste them on leveling gear, which nowadays is super easy to do. After killing the final mob and as my consumable is about to run out, I journey back to the city. I'm sitting on nearly 50,000 silver and I have about 20,000 worth of items in my inventory. Once back in town, the first thing I do is flag up for the Bridgewatch faction. I couldn't do this earlier because I didn't have enough total fame, which is one of the main reasons we went to the yellow zones first. We wanted some fame, some silver, and ultimately to be able to flag up for our faction. Head to the market, sell everything, and quickly replace my mercenary jacket with the correct armor, which is the assassin jacket. Now I can start using tomes again. I want all of my future fame to go into this set, as it is an excellent solo set. After making sure I also have my consumables, I save my current gear as my first and only loadout. This is the loadout I'll be using throughout this entire run. Now buy 768 tier 4 runes. These are what you need to enchant your gear. And head to the Artifact Foundry NPC to enchant the weapon and armors to 4.1. There we are, a 4.1 set, 838 item power, and masteries at level 16. It's time to start doing some real content, unlike those yellow zone warriors from before. If you open up your world map, you will notice it's changed, and that's because we're faction flagged now, and we see the faction warfare map overlay. If we click on the Badlands region, we can see that Bridgewatch currently has the most supplies. And if this is still true when the sieges start, the attack on the Limhurst faction will go through. You can see at the top that sieges are about to start in 7 minutes. And if you click on the little icon, you can see the daily siege timers. These sieges take place in both the yellow zones and the red zones, so if you want to have some fun and farm points without risking your gear, you can participate in the sieges in the yellow zones. As seen here, Martlock is attacking Bridgewatch on the same timer, so defending the territory in non-lethal content is also an option. If you are a new player, it's a good idea to participate in Yellow Zone sieges, but that's not what I'm in for this run. I want faster progression, so I want to do lethal content, so I talk to the faction transport NPC in front of the caravan and teleport to the Badlands. I arrive at Kindlegrass Steppe, which is a red zone, which means from here on, if I die, I will lose all of my gear. And that's not a problem, because not only is my set super cheap, I also have enough silver to buy another set I can farm silver with if I have to. While roaming around, I noticed that my faction completed a small faction camp. Now, since I wasn't close enough, I don't get to open the chest, but from my experience, I know that some people don't loot their share or simply stand AFK on the chest, so I wait around to see what's left in there. I'm not the only one aware of this, and after sharing it with you guys in this video, I'm sure more people will know about it. But as you can see, there's still some loot in there, and I managed to grab a couple items that total 100,000 silver. Spotting a ganker right after looting my first couple items reminds me that I need to secure my loot as I'm still pretty broke. So I journey back to town and place these items on the marketplace as sell orders. No insta selling these, as that would make for a lot less profit. Sell orders it is. Back to the faction transporter and back into the red zones we go. Once there, I notice a blob on another small camp, so I go there and loot the chest while trying to get myself into a party by joining on other players. I follow my party to the next camp and loot that too. As we go over a couple zones, we spot a medium faction chest which still has some time on it. While waiting on it to pop, I notice multiple Limhurst blobs moving our way, and they have far more players as the blob size is much bigger. So instead of stacking on the chest like all the others, I stay on the side and eventually make my way out. I get away from the chaos and go to the next zone, where I find a body with some loot on it. Always check bodies, you never know what's in them. There could be unlooted millions every now and then. I check the small camp here, but there's no one on it. I find another bag nearby with some treasures in it that I take. As I walk back to my group, we spot a dismounted Thetford player, so I dismount on top of him and keep him engaged. There is no way I kill this guy alone, but together we can make me rich. 1.7 million in total, and I quickly grab his weapon and armor and some resources that put me on an inventory worth 1.3 million. I immediately journey back while I appreciate the 5.3 prowling staff I just looted. Back to the market I go as the loyal customer that I've quickly become. First to repair everything and then to quick sell all the resources. The big ticket items I place as sell orders to gain the maximum amount of silver possible. Already sitting on 220,000 silver now, and the Gucci weapon hasn't even sold yet. Use the tomes, stack up on a catfish, and sell my healing potions to replace it with a tier 5 Gigantify pot. I found my new calling, and it's one that doesn't require any healing potions. Back to the red zones through the faction teleporter and meet up with a random Bridgewatch blob again. These guys are chilling on an outpost with a purple faction flag, which would make for a lot of faction points. However, it does look like they're chilling a bit too much for my taste, as they refuse to turn it in, so I continue over to the other blob. While moving, I notice a boss slash scroll, and this is the red zone, so the rewards are going to be far better than the yellow zone. Unfortunately, the blob I was moving to moves to me, and they notice the scroll as well. But after losing my first scroll, there's no way I'm gonna lose this one. I will 1v10 this scroll, no problem. Fastest clicker on the Europe server. And also, not the dumbest one. As the boss slash spawns right next to the camp, I make my way to the left, because the moment I get close to it, it will spawn, and everyone will be able to see it. And since the blob is on it, I don't want it to spawn just yet. I wait and scout around to ensure no one sees me, and when I feel it's safe, I go in. Now, although people can dive me here, I have no time to waste, as other Bridgewatch players will also see the dungeon, so I engage immediately. While on the boss, this smart fella tries to deflag his faction flag to go red and kill me, but I'm too fast in killing the boss and looting the chest. Only 50k for this much drama. I zone out and make the mistake of following these guys again, who are just wasting time. As I move to other zones to find content, I get over 8,000 faction points for my participation in faction warfare so far. Those points add up quickly, and eventually we're going to convert them into silver. My first medium faction camp is a green one, which makes for 240,000 fame. Although green chests don't give any items, you might get tradable tomes every now and then, which you should definitely sell and not use. Nonetheless, the fame from these camps is really good, whether you are on a new character or not. After some faction warfare shenanigans, I get too reckless and get pulled into a clap and die. This is the first death on this character, and spoiler, there are many more that will follow. In town, I claimed the 40 journal missions I completed and head to the marketplace. Here, the first thing I do is change my consumables in my loadout, replace health potions by Gigantify pots and catfish by omelette. Had I used my pot in the previous fight, I might have actually survived that clap. Not only would I be immune to force movement effects and not get pulled into the witchwork, but I would have also doubled my HP. My loadout costs only 56,000 as you can see, and together with the runes that cost me another 6,000, the total cost is only 62,000. A cheap price to pay to participate in such rewarding content. I go and enchant my new set, use the bags and tomes, and as I'm nearing 900 item power with a 4.1 set, I'm also sitting on 550,000 silver already as well. And I haven't sold the 5.3 Prowling Staff I picked up earlier. Since I died, I have to reflag for Bridge Watch, and then I immediately take the teleport back out into the red zone. I'm still in the party I joined before I died, and as I enter the map, I see that they're still in this area, so I head towards them. After capturing an outpost for faction points, we get a blue chest from a medium faction camp, which gives me items worth 126,000 silver. Now something came up, so I had to journey back and AFK for a while, which makes me realize my actual time playing might have been closer to 4 hours instead of 6 after all. Once I return, I check my mail and see I sold the 5.3 Prowling Staff for 720,000, and I've already reached my first million on this character. I'm in a really good spot right now, because the sets I use are about 60,000 silver, and I have 1.2 million. I can literally afford this set 20 times over. Head back out, go one zone over, where the medium camp will start in a minute, join the group waiting there, and clear the chest. It's that simple. Everyone wants the same thing in this content. After clearing a couple chests, we get a purple chest on a small camp, which gives me over 400,000 in loot. The wise thing would be to journey back here, but I feel pretty safe, and there is a small faction chest on the map that will unlock soon, so I head there with my party. And it's a good thing I did, because look at this drop. An 8.2 Masterpiece Guardian Helmet in a standard small faction chest. An item worth 2 million silver. I don't know what's wrong with me at this point because the greed is taking over. Instead of teleporting back after this drop, I had to the medium camp instead, even though I'm not even able to loot it. And this is dangerous because these camps get jumped by enemy players continuously. With nearly 2.5 million in my inventory, I finally smarten up and journey back to town to secure it. And this Guardian helmet is not going on the market. I'm putting it in my bank as I actually want to transfer it over to my main character after this challenge ends. Everything else, I just sell again. At this point, I forget I'm sub 1000 item power and playing on a new character. I have less damage than a tier 4 ore mob and the defenses of a boar. The tier 4 boar, not the tier 7 one. If I had the defenses of that bulky boy, I would have actually survived this. I got too arrogant and died for it. That's my second death in this challenge. Back to the market, buy a new set of gear and runes, enchant it, flag up, and go back out. No wasting time. Here we have a unique situation. I didn't participate in the camp and I wasn't near enough, so I didn't get any loot out of the chest. But I see that the chest still contains items and I click on it to see how long there is left for it to be lootable. So I patiently wait, away from the chest as I don't want to draw any attention to it. It's a blue chest, so whatever is in there is going to be items. Could be a couple runes, but could also be the share of multiple people who didn't loot or didn't have the chance to loot because they died. As I open the chest, there's still 1.42 million silver in there. That's huge. So much loot, I become overweight and need to delete some stuff to journey back. Another 1.8 million silver secured. You just saw my third death took place on the outpost, but here I make the mistake of jumping into a clap and I die for the fourth time. Especially with these bigger fights, you have to be super careful not to be anywhere near the bridges or choke points. No problem at all. We just gear back up again and continue doing content, because so far this has cost me a total of 240,000 silver, whereas I'm already sitting on 10 times that amount in flat silver alone, with a lot of items listed on the marketplace and some even in my bank. Right here on the fight for the territory, an over-the-wall clap takes place and one of my party members die, who I quickly loot up. Next clap, I loot up party member 2. It's why you want to be in a party with this content. Not because you're stronger together, but because you have access to more loot. Quickly loot up party member 3 as well, followed by the red that brings our total to 540,000. I get a bit too greedy trying to execute this guy and get clapped not by players but by mobs this time, resulting in death number 5. But not before a good laugh, as this guy also gets stuck trying to execute me. You know the drill by now. Without wasting time, we gear up again and go back out on the field. People can loot so quick, man, it's crazy. If not for the fast looters, this would have been 26 million instead of 13. As we try to clear a small faction camp with just a few people, I once again get overwhelmed by the mobs. They're really tough in this content. I get knocked down and one of my allies gets killed. Luckily, I get back up before the enemy player reaches me, and I use my mobility and invisibility to get out of there. Another proof of why this build is such a good choice. Back I go to take revenge on my fallen allies. As I return to the camp to finish it, I see a fellow Bridgewatch player fight someone from an enemy faction, so as the brave and noble warrior that I am, not only do I save him by killing his opponent, but I also leave some loot for him on his body. It's not much, but 300,000 is still a lot for a new character, so I journey back to secure it. We kill some juicy targets on the gate, and as I'm no longer in combat, once the targets die, I end up zoning through. All I can do now is pray no one looted it, and as I zone back and check the body, I loot up to a total of 1 million. At this point, I'm clowning around a little, trying to 2v1 this guy, but as he gets reinforcements, I quickly die. That's number 6. Back to town to claim journal mission rewards, and as my items are selling, I notice I'm sitting on 5.3 million silver already. A quick glance at my items listed on the market show that I've still got millions coming my way. I go for another round, this time right before a siege takes place. After enchanting my items, I notice my item power is now over 900. My masteries are level 65, and my specializations reached level 42 already. I've lost count, but I think this is number 6, which is a repeat of a mistake I've made multiple times already now, dying to a clap on a choke. When the day comes to an end, I open up the Faction Warfare tab. If I had Premium active, I would be able to claim all 4 campaign reward chests already. That would make for some nice additional loot. But unfortunately, the 3 days free Premium doesn't count. I've made 140,000 faction points today, and later this week I'll get weekly rewards on it as well. I've also reached the Legionnaire rank, and I'm getting a 10% faction point bonus because of my rank already. With my faction points, I buy 37 hearts and some crests, which make for a total of 1,250,000 silver in rewards. Even if I didn't loot a single item today, I would already make over 1 million silver just for participating in this content. I take off all items listed that didn't sell yet and bring them over to my bank. After repairing everything, I'm sitting on 6.2 million silver, and I have another 7.5 million silver worth of items in my bank. My masteries reached level 70 and my specializations reached level 47. And although these are amazing results for a new character on a single day with about 6 hours of playing, the most important thing by far was the experience. I truly had a lot of fun doing this content, which is why I continued for a couple hours longer. I hope this video showed you what's possible and convinces you to give Faction Warfare a real shot. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe and hit that notification bell for more content just like this. Use my referral link if you want to start playing Albion Online, and use code Levi in the shop whenever you buy something if you'd like to support the channel. Down below, you'll also find my community Discord and our beginner-friendly guild Discord. Everything you need is in the description below. Remember to have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.